Alright, welcome and thanks for joining everybody. I'm Shaq B, and I'm going to switch this from a no-build walkthrough to a no-build guide for two reasons. One is you've already played the game. If you haven't, then there are secrets and challenges left unruined. Two, I want you to learn, not just copy what I do. So without further bullshit, let's get into the techniques that I use all throughout the game using no build at all. Number one is what you're seeing right now is attrition. This is the process of breaking down enemy health with single strikes over a long period of the battle. I'm going to take this time to ask you guys to go ahead and like the vid, subscribe, show me some love on Twitter too if you love my content. Now, getting back to it, the reason you do this, a lot of people might reason that humanoid enemies will just heal themselves, and some of them will, especially revenants. The important thing is that this keeps you from getting frustrated and feeling like you're not actually making any progress in the fight when you actually are. And this is something that you're going to have for hyper armor reasons. You're going to have to use this kind of technique all throughout the game, not just when you're fighting a revenant. So it's very important that you learn to do it and learn to get in the mode of doing it so that you're not thinking to yourself, this is fucking useless, I'm getting nowhere, because you're not getting nowhere. That breaking down their health will oftentimes open up different attack capabilities and opportunities later down the line. Alright, so the next one's not going to actually be a technique, it's just going to be a type of enemy that you'll run into in the game for some reason. This is called a no-fuck. A no-fuck is an enemy that has hyper armor when it isn't a clear indication prior to fighting them that they were going to have hyper armor. This will happen occasionally where you're really you don't understand why this character has hyper armor. There are some enemies in the game who you think would have hyper armor that don't. And it's not simply because they have heavy armor on, because I've run into people with heavy armor. It might be to the degree of heavy armor, I'm not sure, but just be aware that this happens. When this happens, you want to do exactly what I'm doing. Use attrition, get that stamina down. When you see that stamina's down, use your final blow, use your grapples to really do heavy damage on the enemy. And remember, always use attrition so that you don't feel like you're not getting anywhere in the fight, regardless of if they heal themselves or not. So, this technique right here is one that is super useful for every single circumstance in the game. And you'll use it all throughout a no-build walkthrough or playthrough of your game. This is called an overhead, okay? So an overhead is a high stance attack performed during an enemy standing animation and after a final blow or grapple. So for some reason, while they're standing, they can't really retaliate. They have to go through the full animation. So you're literally going to use this throughout the entire game on humanoid enemies. It's important to understand the differences though. With a sword or dual sword or a odachi, you want to use a high stance triangle. With a spear or axe, you want to do a high stance square. With a kusarigama, you want to do a mid-stance triangle attack. You want to switch stance during or before a grapple or final blow, and then hold backward so the attack doesn't miss, because occasionally you'll go right over the head if you're not careful and if you're not holding backward, okay? You'll go right over their head or miss them entirely. So you'll see right here, I'm just utilizing it in these situations to do extra damage. Like I said before, these are situations where the enemy literally has no chance to retaliate. They can't do anything as an AI. They have to just get up and go through the entirety of the animation that opens them up for these attacks without retaliation. So this right here is number 4. It's learned footwork. What this is perceiving an enemy attack before completion of that attack and dodging based on pure memorization in order to strike at the best moment. Okay, so whenever you go up against an enemy you don't know how this enemy fights or how it plays, you always want to take 1 to 2 minutes, and I'm not kidding, take 1 to 2 minutes to memorize the attacks they use before you engage in actually fighting them. This actually gives you the ability to learn what they're doing and use learned footwork to move around their attacks. You see, I've done this so long that I know the distance of attacks, I know the timing of attacks, so I can use my evasion techniques and use just basic movement to get around most attacks. Now, in that case, the tracking was really tight, so of course I fucked that up. That was my fault. I shouldn't have dodge rolled until he was coming down with that last strike, and then I would have evaded that. It also helps you to deal with groups of enemies like this. It helps you to kite them better. When one of them does an attack, I know to go after the other one, unless they get each other's back in that one circumstance. But usually, you'll be able to get around that sort of thing. This right here is called Sequential Pulsing. It's a continuous assault where you hit continuous full Kai pulses, you maximize on damage, and you evade any retaliation while in close quarters combat. Okay, so the idea is to maximize efficiency and finish the fight as quickly as possible. This is a very advanced skill. At the beginning, I really didn't think this was possible. I kind of saw it when I was playing the alpha build of the game, that okay, you'd be able to extend your combos quite a bit. But I wasn't able to really utilize sequential pulsing until I used more pulses. And the first thing you want to do before even trying sequential is to get used to pulsing at full range first and foremost. Alright, so you want to get used to seeing the little bar go all the way up to the top, pressing R1, and seeing the big shower of visuals that come from your character, the after images. When you see that sort of thing, you'll know that you've done it correctly. Also, when the sprites come into your body fully, that's with the little mist around you, which is your ki or Kai. That's when you press R1. So you'll see me utilize it all throughout there and actually key it. When you do that, you purify his yokai dimensional portals as well. Just helps you out. So this one right here is my favorite of all the techniques. I call it the Whitman combination after my good man Squilliam Whitman. It's a full assault that combines learned footwork, attrition, final blow, and overhead for super high damage. Okay, so in this example, I'm able to do over 1,000 points of damage with my rinky-dinky little low-level sword. So we're gonna go through the steps real quick. I'll show you how. I think I'll show you one more time. So as you can see, this asshole is a no fuck. There we go. So we go in with learned footwork. We hit him with one attack to knock him back into his stagger mode. Then we use attrition, just one single strike to knock him down instead of going for the grapple. Go for a final blow. And you can actually boost up the damage by choosing skills like Armor Piercer that boost final blow damage. And then lastly, go with an overhead to finish him off. Okay. That is always useful throughout the entire game on humanoid enemies, except for like maybe Kelly's, you know, because they're cheating fucks. But every other humanoid enemy you'll face in the game, this is a really, really useful way of overcoming those enemies. But you do want to have time to do it. You don't want to get attacked while you're doing this, so don't go through with the entire combination if you've got two enemies and one of them is about to come and attack you. Okay? Alright, so next we're dealing with counter systems. So these are techniques designed to open up retaliation opportunities when fighting humanoid enemies with hard to breach defenses. Sometimes you won't be able to get around a Revenant's defense and you'll be forced to do nothing but attrition. When that happens, you can use these abilities to get around that. See, timing is key though, because it changes from technique to technique and weapon to weapon. You want to take some time on the lower levels to learn and perfect the timings of these abilities. These techniques literally live and breathe on learned footwork. So be careful, but sometimes enemies will decide not to finish attacks, and that will open you up. So you see, basically the reason why I'm able to do this is because I could see what he was doing. I used attrition to coax him to attack. He goes in here, and he starts doing this triangle, triple triangle combo in low stance. Now I know that the ending of low stance is a jump slash downward. So anticipating that, I could then put my arm up, use the counter system, and utilize the attack to get, you know, damage on him and effectively use the counter system. But sometimes enemies will not do that. It's really random as to why they stop. So you need to be careful and just not assume until you see the very beginning of that final slash that they're about to do. Then you know, bam, I got it, I'm ready, I'm gonna get them in this. Alright, So be careful, watch that at all times, because you don't want to have a situation where you did a counter system, you attempted a counter system, and there was no attack to counter, because I've gotten hit several times, I've gotten fucked up several times because I did the wrong thing at the wrong time. Okay. So this right here is Hino Enma. I thought I'd show her. It's important to know that what the yokai are made out of, especially the bosses. Hino Enma in particular is built from Aratama and the sorrow and rage, or Aratama, and the sorrow and rage of abused women. You actually hear her say that or talk about that, give you a hint of that after you defeat her. But this is a boss that gave me a lot of trouble in the alpha demo, in the beta demo. So I thought I would just help you as a person who's first starting out, or a person who's trying to do a no build run. Just help you out on how to beat her. First and foremost, you want to use learned footwork. You want to dodge roll shockwaves if you're too close, and you want to sprint evade if you're medium or long distance. You'll see me fuck this up several times. I'll try to sprint evade, and I'll be in medium to long distance. I'm sorry, I'll be too close when I try to sprint evade, and that'll end up having the shockwave hit me. If you're medium to long distance, you can do that. If you're too close, you want to dodge roll. So when she uses that spin attack, that's what's known as an attrition point. It means you can come in and get a poke or two, but you need to get out of the way, because remember, she has hyper armor, okay? And she has hyper armor realistically because she's a boss, and she's a yokai, which means that obviously she's going to have hyper armor in this game. You also, another attrition point is after a dive attack. So if you can hit her while she's in the air in that dive attack, you have a high chance of actually knocking her over, and I'll show you what that looks like. Whenever she's airborne, actually, if you used ranged weapons or you're able to hit her in the air, that has a high chance of knocking her onto the ground. You don't want to stick around too close, though. When she gets knocked onto the ground, it gets you it opens up a new special attrition point for you to retaliate against her, but you don't want to abuse it, because she can get up and grab you very fast, and then she can drain your health. She actually ends up never getting me with the health drain in this particular fight, but I have gotten hit with that health drain several fucking times, and especially to be a first time player or someone who's going no build first time, it can be really frustrating to have your progress kind of pushed back because she was able to get you. In the second stage of her fight, when her health drops, I would say 50%, just get ready for it. She actually doesn't do it on me here because I guess I kill her too quickly. But she will start to do a standing grab attack, which means she'll run at you and immediately go into a grab attack. It's very fast. You need to stay out of the way of it, because that is the exact same grab attack that she would do if she is on the ground and suddenly stands up and grabs you, okay? It drains your health just like that other grab attack does. So you always want to be just using attrition points whenever they open themselves. That combo that she does, she has a last kick that will actually flip over her head. Once that last kick comes down, that's an attrition point for about one strike, and then get out of the way, okay? So you see me here, I just throw the shurikens in her. You see they're doing big damage for fucking shurikens, which is really ridiculous. More damage than spear strikes, just because she was in the air. Pretty crazy, but it's just a part of the battle. Excuse me. So right here, I just finish her off with a shuriken. I could have used my my spirit, but what the fuck was the point of that? She was already beaten. Alright, that's it, man. That's the second episode of the guide. I will be not showing you every single mission, because this game is really fucking long, and because there's really no need. I want you to experience the game for yourself without a build, or for the first time, and be surprised. So thank you sincerely for everyone who supports my channel. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful to know there's people out there who care about the stuff I care about. If you like subs, guys, then follow me on Facebook and Twitter and all that good shit. Give me some love on YouTube. And let me know about your techniques that you found work for you really well in the game, and we can pass them back and forth. I can try them out on the channel. It'd be pretty cool. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.